Hello everyone, Leo K here to talk about a topic that was a viewer request. I was on a stream and blackTIE mentioned that he really enjoyed my answer and discussion video on the question of how do I stop hurting. He mentioned that I should eventually make videos on how to apologize and how to forgive, and the topics interest me enough to give my thoughts on them. This is just for discussion purposes, and what works for me might not work for you, but the idea is to just get you thinking in the right direction so you can come to your own conclusions by yourself. Everything I say are things I've learned and will reflect my own understandings. I will not be saying, in my opinion, after everything, because everything in this video is my opinion and this is already implied. So yeah, the topic in question is how to apologize. Apologizing for yourself and for your counterpart. Being sorry effectively and saying sorry effectively are two distinct things, and I think they're both pretty important, and you need to synthesize both of them into a meaningful interaction with the person you're apologizing to in order for some actual healing and recovery to happen. I say healing and recovery because for the most part, people aren't very self-conscious or worried about saying sorry for something small. You don't look up a video on how to apologize to your friend if you accidentally bumped into them because it's something that's not terribly grave. It's a little thing, it doesn't matter. You come to this kind of video because you're worried about how to apologize for something big, something difficult, something that caused genuine strife and a tremor in the connection between the two of you. With that assumption in mind, healing and recovery are critical concepts here, and so is the title of this section. A real apology helps both people heal. Yes, people can say all they want until they're blue in the face that the person who wronged the other one quote-unquote doesn't need any healing, but this is complete bullshit, and I will tell you why. It's complete bullshit because mirror neurons exist, and because empathy is a thing. When we see an animal in pain, we feel for that creature in our chest. When we see someone we care for be hurt, we experience a sliver of their own agony. This is especially true when empathy blends together with guilt, resulting from us being the person who hurt them. In order to apologize effectively, you need to try to understand the person you've wronged, and feeling some of what they're feeling, although it's unpleasant, is actually very helpful. That's why a true apology is neither selfish nor selfless. It's always both, because both parties walk away better for it, less tense, less guilt-ridden, and certainly feeling much more understood. So a good apology is done for both the healing of the person apologizing and the healing of the person being apologized to. Feeling understood. Making the person across from you feel understood is a massive component of granting them a good apology. When people throw around the phrase, sorry doesn't fix it, that's only ever half true. When people mention that words don't help once you've already messed up in some way, that is absolutely false as well. Words help a lot. It's easy to say sorry, people say. That's not true either. Saying sorry is very hard. Saying sorry poorly and ineffectively, now that is easy, and it's also very common. So naturally, most people's understanding of actions speak louder than words in contexts like these makes sense after a lifetime of seeing people not be very good at apologizing. But people forget that speaking or typing words, that in itself is an action, and the mindfulness with which you perform that action can make an enormous difference. If someone says sorry to us, the first thing we often want to know is what they're actually sorry for, and there are two reasons for this. One, because if in your eyes they don't need to be sorry for it, you want to be able to absolve them of their guilt and let them know that this isn't actually an issue. And two, it's because if they say sorry but they don't address the right thing you need an apology for, or even worse, don't even know what they're sorry for when you've been hurt, it reveals that they don't actually understand you in a moment during which you need that understanding. And this is the core. This is the crux of the whole process. Understanding. Apology doesn't function without understanding. It just lays there, unpowered and with empty batteries. It can't be animated, can't be alive, unless the apology is fueled by the person showing understanding. If someone understands why they're sorry and what they're sorry for, not only does it mean they're actually engaging with the other person authentically and in good faith, it also means that they've put effort into reflection. Anyone can throw out a sorry. Not everyone will take the time to sit down, suffer through their guilt, think about what they've done, why they did it, and what effect it may have had on their ally. Because that's hard. It's tiring, and it generally doesn't feel very good to do it, but it must be done, and it's something that will remove a weight from you, personally, not just the person across from you. This is actually why I tend to apologize for things I feel I've done that are wrong. I'm not actually looking for forgiveness unless I explicitly ask you for it. I'm looking to grow, to learn, and to come to a greater understanding of my own mistake, as well as the emotion and well-being of the person I'm talking to. In addition, explaining why you made the mistake that you did is critical, because if the person remains in the dark about why your actions happened or what sequence of events led to them happening, there will be unresolved confusion and tension, and that can be a source of anxiety or fear that stays stuck to both of you. Your job when apologizing to someone is to dig deep, explain what caused you to do what you did without making excuses for it, then explain that you understand them, show that you do, and express that understanding to them in a gentle way. So a good apology involves understanding between both people, the person who was hurt understanding why the hurtful actions happened, and the person who made a mistake understanding why their actions were wrong. Feeling safe. Why does this mindful, calm, kind, and gentle approach matter? Because usually situations that call for an apology tend to be quite high tension, both people feeling prickly and unsafe in each other's presence. When something like this happens, it can put your connection and your understanding of each other in doubt. Do they really understand me? Are they being authentic and trying to mutually recover from this fall, or are they just coming to band-aid things over as fast as possible because their own guilt is inconvenient to them, and they can't bear to look at my emotion because it's also inconvenient? There is a huge difference between those things, and one of the best ways to make someone feel safe whom you're apologizing to is to not rush, not make it look like you're rushing. Even if your actual words or speech is fast-paced, the idea is to not make it look like you're in a hurry to disengage. It's to make it look like you care because hopefully you actually do. It's to take your time while being as detailed as you can. You need to realize that this is someone who is now doubting you. They're doubting your intentions, and they're doubting how serious you are about taking responsibility, and they're doubting how much you're willing to understand, and they're doubting that you're going to treat them with kindness coming up. That last bit is partly due to the knowledge that your screw-up has made you feel bad too, and I promise you, they can tell. And since they can tell that you feel bad about screwing up, there's always a subconscious, monkey brain part of our minds that is ready to assume the worst. People in pain tend to hurt others, and no matter how kind and warm and gentle you are, and no matter how rationally your counterpart knows this, there will always be a part of them in those tense moments of apology that needs reassurance that you won't hurt them more. That's why whenever some drama and tension goes down, we tend to treat each other as if we're fragile, because in those moments we genuinely are. That being the case, some gratitude is usually in order as well. Why gratitude? Well, think about it, right? This person is under no obligation to talk to you. You've hurt them in some way. You've done something reprehensible, whether slightly or majorly, and they are choosing, deciding to continue interacting with you when really they have all the reasons in the world to take a break from you, to keep silent, to refuse your attention. After all, the last time you did interact with each other, that didn't end very well for them, did it? Thus, it makes sense for you to acknowledge that. Choosing to give time, attention, and interaction to someone who wronged you is something that takes energy and courage from a human being. Show them that you recognize and are aware of their strength and that you're grateful for it. You're not entitled to them continuing to talk to you, especially if what you did was incredibly bad. But they are talking to you. They are giving you a chance to apologize, which means they are technically also giving you a chance to cause them additional harm, to hurt them more. That's trust. They trust you. No, maybe they don't trust you a lot, but would you trust you a lot after what you did? Probably not. So be grateful, if only a little bit, that they trust you enough to keep talking. And be grateful as well that they value your connection, your bond, your relationship with each other enough to keep you in their life. Express that as well. You're looking to hit points of warmth here, points of goodness, kindness, and sweetness to each other, regardless of what your connection to each other is, and regardless of the depth of that connection. All humans are capable of being kind to one another if they want to be, and if they choose to be. If your counterpart is choosing to give you a chance for redemption, you can choose to be kind to them. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life, but choices have consequences, and if you want to maintain your connection to each other, then choosing to be kind and make them feel safe is probably the better outcome here. So, a good apology restores a sense of safety and warmth to both people, the person who was made to feel unsafe, as well as the person who is putting their happiness on the line by taking responsibility for the harm they did. Granting power. After you've apologized, that's it. You may be wondering why this is even a bullet point on this list, because it seems so self-explanatory and natural, but I assure you, it is not. People are pretty unskilled at this part. Once you've made the apology, and especially if it's a powerful one that you heaved your soul into, you should be very satisfied and fulfilled with that. Your ally is not bound or obligated to forgive you. You are not entitled to forgiveness either. You're not entitled to them coming back into your life. However, you are absolutely allowed to hope for it, and I actually recommend that you voice this hope to them. When all is said and done, it just feels comforting to know that someone who hurt you cares about being around you, hopes that you forgive them, cares about maintaining a connection with you, and cares about you being close to them. Once again, voicing this hope that they do forgive you, it's not just for yourself, it's for them too. It's for them to hear that it matters to you, that they matter to you, and that you're not apathetic or indifferent to their perspective of you. This too is healing. It would make me happy if you forgave me, but you don't have to, and you're free to not do so. A good apology is made without expectation or entitlement. It's one that hopes for forgiveness and reconciliation, but it doesn't force it upon the bond between you. To recap, a good apology is done for both the healing of the person apologizing and the healing of the person being apologized to. A good apology involves understanding between both people, the person who was hurt, understanding why the hurtful actions happened, and the person who made a mistake, understanding why their actions were wrong. A good apology restores a sense of safety and warmth to both people, the person who was made to feel unsafe in the first place, as well as the person who is putting their happiness on the line by taking responsibility for their actions. A good apology is made without expectation or entitlement. It's one that hopes for forgiveness and reconciliation, but doesn't force it upon the bond between you. Apologizing isn't an exact science. It's a skill and an art that we stumble about our entire lives trying to learn. It's specific to each person apologizing, and it's specific and tailored to the emotion, situation, and need of the person the apology is directed at. Learning how to do this is really hard, and unfortunately the only way to practice it is when we actually end up having to do it for real. This is obviously a tragic thing because no one wants to undermine or sabotage their own connections with the people they value and care about and love. The only way to get good at this and to accrue any kind of training at is to be put into situations we never want to be in. But I hope that whatever I talked about here helps you just a little bit, whether by giving you some guidance and peace of mind about it, or by pointing you in the right direction so you can think about it for yourself if you really don't know what you're doing or where to start. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all keep growing, keep learning, and keep forgiving each other. This has been Leo K, and I'll talk to you next time.